Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Hoops and Helmets. And this one might look a little different to you. And if it does, that's because today we're talking college football. We've done two episodes, and they've both been about college basketball. And it is March, so that makes sense. But we're doing college football today, and Aaron is our resident football expert. So, Aaron, how are you doing today?
Carson, I am doing fantastic. Expert might be a little bit of a strong word, but
Oh, come on.
look, I appreciate the kind words, but I am doing pretty good today, Carson. How about you?
I'm doing good, but you know who's not doing very good, Aaron? Is Kirby Smart. Because something has been going on in Athens, Georgia. The big graphic, I guess, that is going around. Georgia football, 24 wins in I think since what, 2023? It's 24 wins to 25 arrests. Most
Or
almost
driving related incidents.
right, all driving related incidents. Um, so Aaron, that begs the question, what is going on?
I I've had some time to think about this for a few days and talking with some friends about it, and what it boils down to is you have young kids, you're throwing a lot of money at these kids who like just have their driver's license. If you threw like millions of dollars at me when I was 18 years old, I'm probably buying a ridiculous car and driving a little too fast. So what they need to do is they need to have serious conversations with these kids. They need to institute driving classes and just have support around them to really teach them how to be functioning adults in society outside of just football. Because obviously Georgia's a phenomenal football team, but there is unquestionably a serious culture problem when it is happening this much, because there's other schools with young kids that are throwing a lot of money at these young kids. It's not happening to the same insane degree that it is in Georgia. And you hate to see it. I do hope that just for the sake of the city of Athens and these young people's future, like I want them to I want this to stop. I would like to see Kirby Smart get it together, but they need safe driving classes. They need like serious penalties too, because a couple guys have been suspended indefinitely, but I feel like there needs to be more significant consequences withholding NIL if you get a charge like that. It's unacceptable at a certain point. Something's got to give. Carson, I'm kind of interested to hear your thoughts on this one as well. I know you're the basketball guy, but this kind of transcends sports at a certain point.
Absolutely, I completely agree. And I'm so glad you brought that up because a lot of people were just pointing at Kirby Smart, and I feel like he has gotten a lot of flack. And I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve it, but I mean, I completely agree. When you're giving 18-year-olds all of this money and they have access to cars that go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, like a lot of these driving related incidences have been like racing. Um, and like most of them, I think there's only been two or three DUIs actually. Almost all of them are speeding or racing. So I completely agree with you. I think that's a great point. When you give 18-year-olds who's just literally their brains are not fully developed, um, they're going to go fast. I would probably go a little fast too if I had a
Mhm.
car that could go that fast. Fortunately, my first car couldn't go that fast. Uh, but I do think that we should also talk about Kirby Smart, Aaron, because like you said, it's not happening at these other schools. I mean, Georgia alone has a serious issue with this right now. Um, and we all know Smart's resume. He's a two-time national championship winner, back to back. He's a three-time SEC winner. Um, but at a certain point, I mean, I think you have to look at this and say, like, there has to be a change. So, Aaron, do you think this culture problem, like, how much of this do you put on Kirby Smart? And like, do you think it might be time to bring somebody else in?
I don't I don't think somebody else will be brought in. I think Kirby Smart is there as long as he is still winning football games, because clearly they don't care. And I don't know how much power a football head coach has over that kind of stuff. That might need to come from like a higher up level in the university itself. But man, we gotta see change. Something needs to give, and I'm just confused as to what it's gonna be. Maybe have like a Belichick-esque set of rules, like you can't drive this ridiculous car unless you've had your license for like X number of years, and just make a list of requirements to go to the University of Georgia. I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, but I genuinely don't know how this is going to change.
Right. I mean, that
Kirby
might.
Smart's obviously said that it's an unfortunate situation, but got to see more action than just words. And Carson, I'm really not sure when we're going to see change from this.
I'm 100% with you, and I don't think Kirby Smart should go. I mean, but
Absolutely not.
at a certain point, you do have to value like culture over wins, over championships, and obviously more arrests than wins since 2023. I mean, it is just absolutely ridiculous. 100%. I completely agree, and it does like it's unfortunate because you don't want to have these rules in place, you know. Um, but I mean, at a certain point, when it's come to this, it's come to this, right? But I'm curious, why do you think this is happening at Georgia specifically, um, rather than other schools? Is it a precedent set? I mean, this kind of all started with Jalen Carter, and
Yeah.
he's doing amazing in the NFL right now. So, what do you think it is, Aaron?
That is a phenomenal question, Carson, and I don't know if I would be able to give you a solid answer on that, because it's just confusing. Why isn't it happening anywhere else but in Georgia? It's it's absurd. It could boil down to like coaching staff just not being on their guys about how they dear Lord, how they handle themselves in the outside world off the football field. Maybe it's that, and Carson, I honestly cannot give you a solid answer.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. So, I mean,
It's just
don't
confusing.
really don't really expect a solid answer here. Um, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, you kind of have to look from within. Um, and I don't even know if it has to do with like maybe the guys they're recruiting. I'm not that like deep into it, so I couldn't really tell them. But Aaron, let's switch over to something. I mean, definitely more positive than this. You know, even if
Yeah.
it's not um, the best for some people in college football, there are a lot of QB battles going on.
Hmm.
Um, And the biggest one, in my opinion, at least like the most notable team it's happening for, is Ohio State. And as we all know, Ohio State just won a national championship. And really, they have three guys that they're going between: Julian Sayin, Lincoln Keenholz, and Tavian St. Clair. And correct me if I said any of those names wrong, Aaron. But what do you think? How do you think this plays out?
Carson, well, you hit the nail on the head. I think this is hands down the most interesting QB battle we're going to see. The defending national champions are choosing between three quarterbacks that do not have prior starting experience in college. It's going to be super interesting to see how Ryan Day handles this with a new offensive coordinator coming in as well. Obviously, Chip Kelly's now with Pete Carroll in Vegas, coaching for the Raiders. But for me, let's hit on Lincoln Kienholz first. He's been there the longest. He has ideal size for a quarterback. He's 6'4", 230 something. That is the exact build that you want. He's arguably the most mobile out of them, and he's the most familiar with Ryan Day, but he didn't see any playing time last season. Obviously, Will Howard, the primary starter last year, but Julian Sand saw some reps. So, and that's where he comes in, the front runner for almost everybody. I mean, there's a reason he's the front runner for this. The guy has a phenomenal arm, insane arm talent, great placement. He doesn't have ideal size. He's only 6'1", 190 something. So considered undersized for the quarterback position, and he's not the most mobile, but he's not unathletic either. He can get you yards if you need him to. He can roll out of sacks. He knows when to step up in the pocket when it starts to collapse on the edges, but also got a hit on Tavian St. Clair. He does have prototypical size for a quarterback as well, but he's an incoming freshman, so he is not as familiar with this system as a Holtz or Julian Sand. He struggled with some questionable decision making in his senior year of high school. But I mean, look, the kid's still talented. He can sling it all over the field. He's probably in a red shirt this year. And if he wants to stick around Ohio State like Lincoln Kienholz has, I do think he will be a starter. Carson, this is a hard one to call. Ryan Day hasn't really been saying that he's leaning either way, but for all intents and purposes, I think Julian Sand's going to win this job. I think he's going to put them in the best position to win. Insane arm talent, but honestly, props to Kienholz as well for sticking around in an era where players transfer if they're not starting after 1 year. He's been at Ohio State for 3 years now, so he absolutely can win this job without a doubt. But I've got to lean Julian Sand just based off of the insane arm talent that guy has.
Well, Aaron, you touched on the transfer portal, and I was going to save it until afterwards, but I might as well just go ahead and ask you right now. Why do you think this is like, what is going on? Because with the transfer portal, I mean, you would imagine that with if any team had QB depth like this, where two guys were really battling it out, I mean, you would think that one of them would just leave, right? I mean, the transfer portal has kind of dominated college football.
Mhm.
Um, so, like, what do you think it is about these specific teams that they can just hold on to their guys?
I mean, Ohio State is just a massive name in college football. They are a phenomenal program. Coming from a Michigan fan, they're very well run. They win a lot of football games. And I think that comes down to it. I think some players value just sticking it out on a really strong program like an Ohio State. And I I like it honestly. You're staying in the same system. You don't bounce around new coach, new offensive coordinator year after year. So I think it's better for players' development in a lot of cases. So, and again, props to Lincoln Kienholz for sticking it out at Ohio State when
Mhm.
he could have easily transferred to a lower end Power Four conference and started somewhere else.
I mean, the idea that you can win a national championship, I mean,
That's
the
enough to keep people around for years.
exactly. And Ohio State just did win a national championship, and a lot of people think they're the preseason favorite. But the team they beat in the national championship, Aaron, was Notre Dame, and they have a QB battle of their own going on right now. Steve Angeli, CJ Carr, and Kenny Minchie, I believe is how you pronounce that last name. All three of them are in the running. Aaron, how do you think this shakes out?
Carson, this is another really good one. Steve Angeli, he had to fill in for Riley Leonard against Penn State when Leonard was in concussion protocol. He was able to move the ball incredibly efficiently. He was 6 for 7 passing, 44 yards, and he helped Notre Dame get down the field to kick a field goal before the second half, which ultimately proved to be a serious difference maker in a game that was super, super competitive. And I honestly thought they were moving the ball better with Angeli at quarterback than they had been with Riley Leonard because Penn State did a really good job keying in on those design quarterback runs that they like to run with Riley Leonard. So Angeli, obviously a bit of a front runner because he has this experience with Marcus Freeman and he's looked good in the limited amount that we saw him. We also saw him against Purdue in September this past season throw for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. The guy has amazing pocket awareness. He is calm under pressure. If Marcus Freeman does name Angelo the starter, expect to see their offense be pass heavy, just trying to move the ball downfield. Because I mean, let's be honest, Steve Angeli is not the running threat that Riley Leonard was. Riley Leonard, pretty good dual threat quarterback. You're not going to get that with Steve Angeli. And CJ Carr, another guy who's in the mix for this. He profiles really similar to Angeli as a passer, but he offers a little bit more with his feet and arguably has a higher ceiling as a younger player. And then Kenny Minchie the most athletic out of the three by a country mile. It's not even
Mhm.
close. So if they want to keep some amount of continuity with their offensive scheme, I think Kenny Minchie is the guy to go with because he is a good passer as well. And I don't think Riley Leonard was that great of a passer with Notre Dame. He was good enough, and I think Kenny Minchie is also good enough as a passer as well. And you can still keep running those design quarterback runs with Minchie. And even if Freeman does go with an Angeli or Carr, I'd expect to see Minchie in on some design quarterback runs like we saw with Michigan and Alex Orji last season. Because Orji could not throw the ball to save his life, but the guy was big and he was a really good runner. It's tricky, honestly, Carson. Reports from spring practice, people that have been in South Bend watching practice, Steve Angeli is carrying himself like it is his job to lose, and that's what you want to see in a quarterback who's fighting for a starting job. And to me, I honestly have to agree with it because he looked good last year when we saw him in crunch time against Penn State. Pressure's on him, wasn't expected to play. He goes out, leads a super efficient drive to get some points. I would like to see Angeli win it, but honestly, I hope we get to see Minchie at some point too, just because of the dynamic dual threat ability that he's going to be able to bring to the field. I think that would be a super exciting offense to watch.
This has probably been my favorite QB battle of any of them, specifically Steve Angeli and Kenny Minchie. And no disrespect to CJ Carr, because I mean he was a prized prospect and he has a hell of an arm. But I think it's like you say, it really comes down to what you value. Um, Recently, we have just seen um, how important like dual threat is to a quarterback. I mean, we've seen it with Jaden Daniels, and obviously you have Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and these quarterbacks in the NFL. And that's Kenny Minchie. Like you said, I mean, just the absolute most athletic. But it's not like pocket passers can't succeed. And
Mm-mm.
if you really value that continuity and you don't think that um, you're just gonna sync up the same with Minchie, then Steve Angeli is the way to go. So it really does just matter what the coaches are gonna value, and if
Yeah,
they want continuity
mm.
versus I guess versatility is the word I would use with Minchie. So we're gonna see what happens.
And Marcus Freeman has also said that he wants a guy who's going to be able to lead, and I think that's probably where Steve Angeli is going to have a leg up over Carr and Minchie because he's done it, he's played, he's got experience. So I think that prior experience is going to be a significant leg up for Steve Angeli.
Aaron, let's move over to Michigan because they have maybe my favorite quarterback out of any of them that we're going to be talking about. They have another three-way quarterback battle right now. Mikey Keene, Jaden Davis, and the man who I was alluring to is Bryce Underwood, a five-star, 100 ranked, which is like perfect out of high school. He was number one in the nation. So, Aaron, what do you think happens here?
Carson, I'm so excited to see how this plays out. I'm thrilled that Sharon Moore was able to get Bryce Underwood in Ann Arbor. Yes, they had to throw $12 million at the guy, but he's still there, so that's all that matters. But you said it was a 3-horse race. To me, it's between Mikey Keene and Bryce Underwood. Jaden Davis was on roster last year, and with how much quarterback play struggled at Michigan last season, the fact that he didn't see the field, that's not a good indication to me. I would have thought that Jaden Davis would have started, at least played at some point last season, but he didn't. So that to me makes it a little iffy to call it a 3-horse. But let's hit on Mikey Keene. He is a experienced transfer. He's played at UCF. He started at Fresno State for a couple of years. Again, another undersized player at quarterback. He's only 5'11 and 190 pounds. And that's what he's listed at, too. We almost never see players actually measure at what they're listed. So you could call the guy 5'10, 185. That's small for a quarterback. So you're going to see the typical issues that you see with a smaller quarterback. You're going to see batted balls. You're going to see him take overextended dropbacks so he's able to see more of the field because he's not able to see over 6'5", 6'6" offensive linemen. But on the positive, he is still really comfortable in the pocket. He is good throwing on the run, and he doesn't force big plays, doesn't try to play hero ball, which is a very good thing. But what's a massive red flag for Mikey Keene is that he's comfortable throwing off platform when he doesn't need to. When he steps up, he doesn't always set his feet before he throws, even when there's not immediate pressure in the area. So you're going to lose velocity on those passes. That's not going to fly in the Big Ten. That might fly at Fresno State in the Mountain West, but when you're playing against guys who are going to the NFL in a couple years in the Big Ten, that's going to turn into turnovers, and we just can't have that at all. Michigan needs to have good quarterback play this year if they want to get back into the mix on a national level. But Bryce Underwood, man, I'm just ecstatic that he is there. Super young. He's turning 18 in August. So that's a bit of a knock on him. He's a really young guy. So Sharon Moore might not be overly eager to throw somebody that young and inexperienced into a serious position with a lot of pressure, playing quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines, national championship winners 2 years ago. There's going to be a lot of pressure there. But if someone's going to be able to step up to that type of pressure, it is going to be Bryce Underwood. The guy has a cannon for an arm. His accuracy is on point. He can make every throw you ask of him. He is 6'4", 215. He's a phenomenal runner. He can make guys miss at that size. And when he needs to be, he can be a physical runner, but he's smart about when he takes hits. He doesn't take unnecessary hits. It's not going to be a Cam Newton type where Cam was just trying to run guys over, and ultimately I think that's what cost him some longevity in the NFL. So you're not going to have to worry about the typical big physical quarterback running style from Bryce Underwood because he's really smart about it. Ultimately, Bryce Underwood is going to be starting for Michigan at some point this season. I guarantee they start with Mikey Keene for the first few games, give Bryce Underwood a little extra time to get up to speed. But you don't bring in a quarterback who is that talented and pay him that much money to ride the bench because the guy's going to hit the portal after a year if he's not starting. So Mikey Keene, first 4 games, then Bryce Underwood is in there, and I think he's going to tear it up. Honestly, Carsen, I am so excited to watch Michigan this year.
I completely agree with you, and I haven't looked too much into Michigan, but obviously, I mean, they're a big name school, and they're always at least in the mix. If Mikey Keene and Bryce Underwood can be kind of what you say, what do you think Michigan's chances are in terms of a national championship?
That's true. I think they could sneak in the playoff for sure. I think that's their ceiling. I cannot comfortably call them national championship contenders after what we saw from them last season. It's going to be rough. Hoping we see Bryce Underwood ASAP. I'm all in for the hype, 1,000%. I don't want to wait too long to watch that guy play in maize and blue because Carson, I'm so excited. I had to deal with no good quarterback for a season. Then we get Bryce Underwood. Holy crap!
I mean, the talent is off the charts with him. You can see it in basically everything he does. I mean, he has it. So I'm excited to see that too. I'm excited for you as a Michigan fan. Aaron, let's move over to Alabama. Alabama hasn't been, they're not their heyday anymore. Not when them and Clemson were going at it every year. But they still do have a pretty interesting QB battle going on. Ty Simpson, who I think might be the favorite right now, but he's going up against Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. Aaron, how do you think it happens?
Like you said, Ty Simpson, he's got solid size at quarterback. He's the presumed front runner for this battle. He's got good accuracy and passable arm strength. It's good, but it's not going to knock your socks off. And he doesn't force himself into throwing off platform. He knows when he has to step up in the pocket, and he'll set his feet to throw when he has time to. And he also has the ability to make plays with his feet. One play that really stood out for me was against Mercer last season. Yes, not exactly top tier competition, but we saw him what looked like he was about to get sacked. The defensive tackle was right on him. He rolls out, hits a wide receiver for I think 30 something yard gain. So the guy is not unathletic. He can make plays with his feet. He can extend plays, get you yards when he needs to. And he's also been with Kalen DeBoer for a year. He wasn't the starter, but he was still there and learning the playbook, which will
Mhm.
give him a leg up over Keelan Russell and Austin Mack. On the other hand, Austin Mack has played with Kalen DeBoer and incoming offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb while he was at Washington. And Austin Mack, he is 6'6", 240 pounds. The guy's been praised by his teammates for his work ethic and intelligence. So he's obviously I'd call him a live underdog in this situation. And as far as Keelan Russell goes, he is a pass first dual threat kind of player. He looks to make a play with his arm before he makes a play with his feet. But the problem with him is he's listed at 190 pounds. Like we said earlier, guys don't come in at what they're listed at. So he's small for a quarterback. You don't want to see somebody that size at that kind of level. So again, I would like to see Keelan Russell get redshirted, give him some time to develop, put 20 more pounds on, and he's going to be starting for Alabama at some point. I am very confident in that. He has phenomenal arm talent and dual threat capability, and he will be pushing for this starting job. Ultimately, I do think Ty Simpson will win it based on his familiarity with DeBoer and the playbook, his accuracy, and ability to extend plays with his legs.
Yeah, I think you had a really good point with the way. I mean, he's been touted as like Jaden Daniels as well, and I mean everybody knows what Daniels just did in the NFL playoffs as a rookie. I mean, it was incredible. But Jaden Daniels is 210 pounds, and I mean he came in and everybody said he was slight, and everybody was worried about him getting hurt. So 190 is, I mean, that is really, really, I mean, just scary for a quarterback taking those hits.
Mm-hmm.
So, Aaron, I may have missed it if you said it, but if you were the head coach, who are you starting at Alabama?
I think Ty Simpson, he has familiarity with the system, and he's not going to make mistakes. He's smart with the ball, mobile enough to extend plays, get you a few yards when necessary, and again, the familiarity with the playbook and the system.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I hope I really do want to see Keelan Russell. I mean, if not this year, then hopefully next year. He was a 5-star, another 100 grade prospect in 2025. So
I
I
think
mean,
he might have been the highest rated prospect that Alabama's brought in, if not the highest, then the second highest, which is still insane considering
yeah,
how much of a college football dynasty Alabama's been.
and the amount of incredible quarterbacks they've had, Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Milroe last year, and Jalen Hurts. I mean, they have really just had so many incredible quarterbacks. So, yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting one. Um, Aaron, the last one we're going to talk about is Colorado. And Colorado has an interesting battle coming up because Shedeur Sanders is gone. I mean, he's going to the NFL. Many project him as a number 1 overall pick, if not a top 3 pick, basically lock. Um, and so here we are without him. And Deion Sanders has a choice to make. Julian Lewis and Kaidon Salter. And once again, correct me if I'm saying those names wrong. Um, Aaron, who do you think Sanders ends up going with?
I mean, let's hit on Caden Salter's background a little bit. 2023, he had a phenomenal season with Liberty, 13-1 record, and was named the CUSA MVP. The guy is a tough dual threat quarterback who can make deep throws and whip it into tight windows. The downside with Salter is that he has inconsistent accuracy, and he does tend to play hero ball when plays start to break down, which is going to result in turnovers. Now, Julian Lewis is an incredibly highly touted prospect, a massive get for Deion Sanders in Colorado. he profiles as a much better passer. He has consistent accuracy, and he also has comparable arm strength to Caden Salter. He is, however, more undersized than Salter, and Salter's already a little undersized for a quarterback. It's going to be a tricky one to call, but there's a quote from Deion Sanders. He was asked about what will separate these two players. He said leadership, being able to see the field, being able to rally those guys around you. And you got to understand you need to have a bona fide leader at quarterback. Going off of that quote, I really think it's going to be Caden Salter because he has experience starting at this level. He's going to be able to be a leader, but I think he's going to be on a very, very short leash because in 2024, we did see a step back from Caden Salter. He was not able to match his 2023 numbers. And when you have a player as talented as Julian Lewis with the kind of arm that he has, it's going to be tricky to justify starting Salter for too much longer if he does end up playing like he did in 2024 and doesn't see a return to his 2023 form.
I gotta say, Aaron, this is the first one I've actually disagreed with you on, and I don't think anything you said is wrong, um, but I just think that Julian Lewis is going to be able to step in and show some of that leadership immediately. I mean, he was the first back-to-back Gatorade Georgia Player of the Year since Trevor Lewis, or sorry, Trevor Lawrence. And I mean, we all know how great Trevor Lawrence has been. Not to say he's going to be Trevor Lawrence. I don't want to put that kind of pressure on him because I'm sure he's watching this right now. But not only that, but he has kind of like he hasn't been with the program, but he's been close to it. According to CBS Sports, Lewis started spending time with the program even in the run up to the bowl game, and experienced Sanders' like preparation process with the program. So I just think like if he has been there so long, I mean that to me is kind of telling. But at the same time, Salter does have that experience. At Liberty in 2023, in 2023, he really was very good. 2,800 yards, and rushed for 1,000 yards. And Liberty rolled off to they went 13-1, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's incredible. I mean, that's a really, really good dual threat quarterback if you're running 1,000 yards in a season. Like you said, last year though, he dropped off, so we're just gonna have to see if he can get back to that level, or if he's just gonna keep trending downwards. And I do think that is going to end up deciding this battle.
And another big concern for me to hit on Julian Lewis being a little undersized. He's listed at 185 pounds, and Colorado has struggled at offensive line to say the absolute least. So I know they've got some transfers, and I know they've recruited pretty well in that offensive line, but if that's not fixed, throwing Julian Lewis behind a struggling offensive line is going to be massively detrimental to his development as a player.
I completely agree. Aaron, we have a little bit of time left, and tonight we have some Elite Eight games going on. There are a couple more teams with QB battles, but I think we've talked about the more notable ones. So, Aaron, if it's cool with you, I was thinking we could do a second chance bracket because my first one did not end up going the way I wanted to. Obviously, I have the Duke hat on. Duke plays tonight against Arizona, which I'm super excited about. So, Aaron, do you want to get this pulled up?
I mean, let's do it, Carson. I got it pulled up right here. Let's kick it off with your Duke Blue Devils going up against Arizona. And like I said Monday, Caleb loves matching up against the Blue Devils yet again in March Madness. Maybe he sends them home packing early yet again. But Carson, how do you think this game's going to play out?
I have been very steady in that. Thank you very much, Pam. I've been very steady in that Duke is the best team in the nation. If anybody scares me, it is Caleb Love. I mean, he has really done some damage to Duke over the past 3 years now, I guess. But I do think that Arizona is one of the weaker teams left in the field. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with Duke. Outside of Caleb Love, Arizona doesn't have many high-end playmakers. And I mean, Duke, if anybody has the guys to handle Caleb Love, it's Duke. So I'm gonna roll with Duke.
Another matchup happening tonight. We got 2 seed Alabama against 6 seed BYU. Carson, you think the Storm and Mormons are going to keep rolling with a bit of a Cinderella run, or is Bama going to end it for them here?
I don't think BYU is going to keep it. They're my weakest team in the field right now. Um, they're the lowest seed outside of Arkansas, and I just haven't really loved their run up to this point. I mean, obviously they're here, but I just think that they narrowly beat some teams that they should have beaten by more. And I have come around on Alabama. I underrated them, I think, at the start of this, but but I think they're by far the better team than BYU. And Mark Sears alone, I think, will will them to this victory. So yeah, give me Alabama.
And then in the Midwest region, we got Houston against Purdue. Carson, obviously, Purdue losing 2-time player of the year, Zach Edey, has been a big hit to them, but they're still fighting. They're here in the Sweet 16, matched up against what some people have called the weakest 1 seed in the tournament in Houston. Carson, who's coming out of this matchup?
I'm gonna take Houston. I don't think they're the weakest 1 seed. I've said that. I said that last show, and I think Purdue is one of the weaker teams left in the field again. I know that this is kind of boring right now, but I really do think Houston is very good. I have them as my third ranked team left in the field. So give me Houston. They're just dominant, man, and they've got so many avenues to victory, unlike Purdue. So I'm going to take Houston.
Next matchup in the Midwest region, we got 3 seed Kentucky against 2 seed Tennessee. Carson, I know you got some people watching that are Tennessee fans, but how's this matchup going to play out?
I do have some people watching that are Tennessee fans, and I want to take Tennessee because of them, but I have to take Kentucky. And once again, I was lower on Kentucky than I am now, and I was higher on Tennessee than I am now. Kentucky, once again, just has um, so many avenues to victory. Otega Owe is a very, very high end scorer, and they've got 5 10 point per game scores after that. Meanwhile, Tennessee has Chaz Lanier and Zakai Ziegler, who I think are probably going to be the best players on the court. Um, but outside of them, they really, really fall off. And so I just think in a game that's going to be scrappy like this, you need to have multiple avenues to victory. So give me Kentucky.
In the South region, we got the 1 seed Auburn facing up against 5 seed Michigan. Carson, what's happening here? Can the Wolverines make it to the Elite Eight, or is Auburn going to send them packing?
I have also been steady that Auburn is the weakest 1 seed in the field, and I don't think they deserved the number one overall seed, but I think they will beat Michigan here. I mean, they're number one seed they are number one for a reason, and Michigan is one of my um, weaker teams left in the field. I mean, they just squeezed by UC San Diego, and they just don't really have a clear number one option, and sometimes in those grimy games, like it is good to have somebody that you can go to. I know I'm saying right now, like you want to have a lot of avenues to victory, but you also do want to have that clear number one guy who is going to be guarded by the other team's best defender. And I just don't think Michigan really has that guy, and Auburn clearly does. So let's go with Auburn.
Next matchup in the South, we got a legendary head coach in Tom Izzo leading the Michigan State Spartans to another Sweet 16 appearance against the Ole Miss Rebels, who bounced the Tar Heels in the first round. Carson, does Tom Izzo get Michigan State to the Elite Eight?
He does. Tom Izzo has become underrated as a coach, I think. I mean, he's really, really good, and like I said, the same thing with John Calipari. I mean, when Izzo was like when it was the mid teen 2010s, like 2015, 2016, and those years, Izzo was regarded as like the one of the best coaches in the nation, and I still think he is. I don't think that he's fallen that he's fallen off that much. Meanwhile, Ole Miss was in a dogfight with UNC, and I was high on UNC, but not that high, not as high as I am on Michigan State. They almost blew a 20-point lead there. Um, I just can't have them beating a Tom Izzo led really, really good Michigan State team.
And next up, we got Florida against Maryland. Carsen, Florida is making a lot of noise. They're one of the more popular picks for the national champion. How's this matchup going to play out?
This is probably my game of the week. I think this is going to be an absolute nail biter. I think these guys are just going to go back and forth. I have Maryland. I think I had them at my number 8. This is going to be a really, really good game. Maryland has 5 guys averaging double digits. So, I mean, if one guy's off, they could just pivot to another. But they were in a dogfight with 12-seeded Colorado. And like you said, Florida is just a dominant, dominant team. Walter Clayton Jr. is one of the best guards in the country. And they have Elijah Martin, who is really, really good. They've got great depth. They've got, I think like 3 7-footers. They're just really good. And like I said, I think this is going to be one of the better games of the week. And I could see Maryland beating them, but I'm gonna have to take Maryland.
Maryland.
Or no, sorry, I'm gonna have to take Florida. My bad.
I was gonna say already. And to round up the Sweet 16, we got 3-seed Texas Tech against this year's Cinderella story, the Arkansas Razorbacks. Arkansas led by another legendary college coach in John Calipari. Carsen, does Arkansas continue the closest thing to a Cinderella run that we have this year?
This is also going to be a really good game, but I think I have to take Texas Tech here. JT Toppin is just a bucket. Darian Williams is really good. They are pretty reliant on those 2 guys, and it worries me with a coach like Calipari that, if he can take away those 2 guys, which Arkansas has been really, really good defensively. I'm kind of talking myself out of it a little bit here. But Arkansas's run has just been a little fluky, right? Kansas didn't play up to their potential. St. John's really didn't play up to their potential. And, they are a good defensive team, but, those teams also just missed a lot of shots. Give me Texas Tech. It's going to be a really good one. It's going to be a dogfight, and Calipari does scare me, but I'm going to take Texas Tech.
And let's keep it in the West region. We got Florida and Texas Tech. Carsen, who's going to punch their ticket to the Final Four?
I'm going to take Florida. Texas Tech is one of my weaker teams in the country. They're weakest teams left in the field. They're just going up against a team that I think is weaker than them in Arkansas, but Florida is the second best team in the country, in my opinion, and they have been all year. So, this one is kind of a no-brainer to me. Give me Florida.
And moving over to the Midwest, we got Houston and Kentucky. Who's moving on, Carsen?
Oh, this is a good game, man. This is going to be a good one, too. If it happens. And Houston just has a difficult path right now. I think I'm going to go Houston. Yeah, I think I'll go Houston. I really do like Kentucky, like I said. But Houston, in my opinion, is the 3rd best team in the nation right now, and I think they've got just the guys they need. So, yeah, I'll take Houston.
And moving to the South, we got Auburn. Like you said, you think they're the weakest 1 seed. I agree. They didn't deserve to be the top overall seed in this tournament. Carsen, can Tom Izzo keep it rolling and get Michigan State back to the Final Four?
I think Michigan State's going to beat Auburn. This is my one upset of this round. I'll go ahead and spoil the Duke-Alabama game. Michigan State's a really good team, and Tom Izzo is a really good coach, and Auburn has just not shown me what they needed to show me. in their last, I guess, 6 games at this point. Like I've said it multiple times at this point, they lost 3 of 4 before the tournament, and of course they've won the 2 games since they've won 2 games in the tournament. But I mean, it was Alabama State, and they beat a good Creighton team, not super convincingly. Um, I am gonna take the team I just believe is a little better. Um, they've got a Michigan State has a really deep roster. Not that Auburn doesn't necessarily, but they're also just well coached, and this is probably getting old, but I just think they have a lot of avenues to victory. So give me Michigan State.
And I know you spoiled it already, but last matchup before the Final Four, we got Duke and Alabama. Carson, I know you said you're picking Duke, but how big of a chance do you think Alabama has to bounce the Blue Devils?
I mean, I won't say it's a small one. Alabama is a really good team. Um, Mark Sears, I have kind of raved on him in the past couple episodes. He is just, I mean, he was a monster last year. He's even better this year. And they have 5 other double-digit scorers. So, um, I mean, if a team didn't have the guys that they needed to guard, if they weren't deep defensively, then Alabama could pose a lot of problems. But Duke is really deep defensively. Tyrese Proctor is an elite on the perimeter. You have Malik Brown, you have Sion James, both elite perimeter defenders. And then you have Cooper Flagg, who can guard, I mean, basically 1 through 5 effectively. Maybe I'll say like 2 through 5, because he does like have some problems when really fast guards, which is what Mark Sears could do. But I mean, you can't pick on Cooper Flagg defensively. I'm not trying to say that. And then they have an interior monster in Mulak. So Alabama, I would love to have taken them um, to the Final Four, and if they had gone up against a Houston or an Auburn, I probably would have taken them. But Duke is just so good.
And Carson, I just do want to throw this out there. 3 number 1 seeds have only made the Final Four 5 times in history. So this would be a historical Final Four.
It would be. I kind of want to take Kentucky over Houston a little bit, but
I mean, we can change it. It's not too late.
Yeah, change it. Change it. Kentucky has a high end score and uh, 5 other 10-point per game scores. I mean, that is just historical. I mean, maybe not historical, but really good depth and versatility. And also, I mean, how fun is a Duke Kentucky um, Final Four going to be? And Kentucky has, I believe, Kentucky beat Duke this year. So, in fact, they did. So, going to be a good one.
Without a doubt. We'll leave that matchup for last. First up, we got Michigan State and Florida. Carson, who's going to punch their ticket to the national championship?
I think it's going to be Florida. I had them in my national championship in my original bracket, so I don't know, maybe I shouldn't, but I mean they're just really good, dude. Walter Clayton Jr. is one of the premier guards in the country. I mean, he just gets what he wants at will, and I mean, he's just a pure bucket. He might be the best scorer out of anybody else left in the field. Um, so I'm going to take Florida in that one. Michigan State, once again, I worry about Tom Izzo, and I worry about their depth. But I'll take Michigan, or I'll take Florida here. I just think they're the better team.
Last Final Four matchup, it's Duke against Kentucky. Carson, is Duke going to keep it rolling?
Yeah, I can't choose against them now. If anybody has, I mean, Kentucky has incredible depth, but once again, it's just like Alabama. And I think Alabama is a better team than Kentucky in general. There's no team in the country that has the depth defensively to deal with great depth offensively. I mean, for my money, Duke is the best defensive team in the nation. So I'm going to take Duke here. I think it's going to be a good game. Probably not as good as the Duke Alabama game. Give me Duke.
And we got Florida and Duke in the national championship. Carsen, I think this might have been the same matchup we had in your original bracket. Will
Hmm.
there be a different result, though? Are you going to pick Florida over Duke?
It was the original matchup that I had in my original bracket, and I am not going to be changing it now. Um, and I don't know, maybe I should because I mean I'm getting a second chance, but I just think Duke is the best team in the nation, dude. Their depth is phenomenal. I mean, I'm talking about Kentucky and I'm talking about Alabama and I'm talking about Florida and all these teams that have great depth. Duke is better than all of them. I mean, Caleb Foster is a starting point guard on most teams, right? Um, and Bogda, I always pronounce his last name wrong, is a starting center on most teams. Like they just have um, everybody they need in so many ways to kill you. Especially, I haven't mentioned, but Tyrese Proctor has been on a heater. And if he stays on the heater like he has been, then I don't think it's going to be really close between any of these teams, um, because you always know what Cooper Flag is going to give you, right? He's the best player in the nation every single night. He will always be the best player on the court. Knipple is always going to be an incredible 3-point shooter. I mean, he's had a couple down games, but if I had to bet, I would bet on him hitting most of his threes, or at least like 40% of them on any given night. Tyrese Proctor has been the guy who he's the one guy you kind of question, right? I mean, you always know what he's giving you defensively and as a playmaker, but his shot has been streaky at times. But over the last 3 games, I mean, he's given you 19 threes in total, I believe. 7 threes against Baylor, 6 threes the game before, 6 threes the game before that. So, I mean, if he keeps that up, and I kind of don't expect him to, I mean, I don't think he's going to hit three against, or I don't think he's going to hit 6 threes against Alabama and Kentucky and Florida. But, I mean, if he can continue shooting 40% from there, because he's been shooting better than that. So if he shoots 40% from there, I am pretty confident in Duke's chances. So, um, Florida does scare me. I think they're the second best team in the nation, but if anybody's got the guys to deal with Walter Clayton Jr. and those 7-footers, it's Duke. So I'm going to take Duke. I
Yeah.
am. I mean, I'm wearing the hat. They're playing tonight. Next Monday, hopefully I'm gonna have a. I do go to App, Chris. I saw that. I do go to App, but they're not dancing right now, and Duke
Mm-mm.
is. So yeah, right now I'm a Duke fan. Hopefully next week I'll have something behind me to kind of show that.
Oh,
I have just been bare for the last who knows how long. I don't think I've ever had any decorations up really. So but hopefully next week I will be able to show everybody how big of a Duke fan I am.
oh.
If
Let's not do that. On
me
second
talking
thought, I
about
think
it
we're
in my
canceling the
hat,
show next week.
oh yeah, no Monday show, guys. Sorry, uh, but
But
yeah,
you have
that's
like
my
a
second chance bracket.
point total that you want to throw out there for the national championship?
I think I had it. I think it's going to be a 4-point game. And one thing I've noticed, I was thinking back to my brackets last year and the year before that, and the national championship, I often pick it to be a 4-point game. And I don't know why, but it just feels right. Um, so let's go. Well, maybe not in this one though. Duke is so good, dude. Let's go. Let's go 83-76.
Alrighty, 100 and well, that'll do it for
Oh,
Carson's
it's
second
total
chance
points.
bracket.
Yeah.
Duke winning yet again. Hate to see it. I hope it doesn't happen. Again, all I've got left is to be a hater, so I'm going to
Well,
be a hater.
I recommend you don't watch the next 3 games that Duke play.
I'm
Because
probably watching that Arizona game. I'm going to be honest.
oh well,
I
I mean,
got
I
to.
think you should. If you are curious at all about Duke, or if you're just a basketball fan, or if you want to become a basketball fan, Duke, I think, is a really good team to watch because they play so well. And I mean, once again, Cooper Flag is an experience in and of himself. His scoring, his mismatch attacking, his playmaking is unbelievable in my opinion. I mean, that kind of it, I guess, weaponizes everything else he has. And we saw it in the Carolina game where he had the first 4 assists. He had no points and 4 assists on the first 4 possessions because he's getting doubled he's getting doubled so often. And he can pass out of it. I mean, he's big enough to see over double teams. He can see a lot of angles that smaller guards can't see. So if you just like to watch basketball, or if you want to like to watch basketball, or if you're curious about what makes good players good and great players great, go watch Duke, because they kind of just have everything for you. And with that, I know that's a lot of Duke bias, but I'm never going to stop repping. So with that, that's going to be our episode of Hoops and Helmets. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you want more of Aaron and I, you can find Aaron more than you can find me on Boom Broadcasting. He has the Gridiron Address every Sunday, which is really, really deep dive. Just I don't want to give you a big head, Aaron, but it's a really really good show, and he's got a lot of awesome guests on all the time. So yeah, go to Boom Broadcasting, subscribe. We're about to hit 500 subscribers. I think we're at 495 last I checked. So if 5 of you guys watching subscribe, we'll be there. And even if you don't, thank you all for watching. Thank you to all of our subscribers. And we'll see you next show.